The anime starts with a young man named Nick. He is part of a group that fights monsters in Labyrinth City to keep everyone safe. Nick loves his job, but one day, his leader, Urgis, throws him out of the group for no clear reason. To make things worse, Nick's girlfriend leaves him too. Feeling sad and alone, Nick meets a girl who says she is a famous singer. She gives him a concert ticket and invites him to see her show. Nick is unsure at first but decides to go. He is amazed by her talent. Her name is Agate, and Nick can't stop thinking about her. But going to concerts costs money, and Nick needs a job. He goes to the Adventurers Guild to find new teammates, but he can't stop thinking about Urgas's words, saying he is not good enough. While eating and thinking about his future, Nick meets 3 new people: an assassin girl, an exiled priest, and a dragon man. He tries to guess their stories while drinking, but he can't figure them out. He toasts to his ex-girlfriend and his new friends, feeling a bond with them despite their differences. They all have been betrayed, so trusting others is hard for them. Just when things seem better, the assassin girl reveals a secret. She is actually a witch named Tiana. Nick is surprised but curious. Tiana shares her story with Nick. She was a smart student at an academy, but her fiancé accused her of cheating. He couldn't accept that she was smarter than him and tried to ruin her. Hurt and alone, Tiana left to start a new life. But things didn't go well. Tiana lost all her money gambling and had to find work. She tried many jobs, but nothing worked out. Just when she was about to give up, she met Nick and his new friends. Zem, the exiled priest, has his own sad story. He used to live in a city known for its medicine and temples. Zem was a priest there. One day, a girl named Muriel gave him a medicinal plant as a thank you gift, and Zem gave her some money in return. That night, Muriel told Zem she liked him, but Zem had to say no because priests cannot date. Muriel was heartbroken, and Zem still feels bad for hurting her. The next day, Zem woke up surrounded by serious-looking bodyguards. Muriel was there, dressed in revealing clothes. She lied and said Zem forced her into prostitution, which got him thrown into jail. After 3 long months, Zem was released. But the city people treated him badly with insults and curses. Zem felt lost and alone. He turned to a woman who was a friend of Muriel's. She told him to find his own path, but Zem chose a different way. He spent his days with women, living a wild life until he ran out of money. Even when asked about a legendary dragon girl named Curran, he was too drunk to stand. Despite their different pasts, Zem and Curran shared one thing. They were both betrayed by close ones. They found comfort in each other's company and became unlikely partners, starting a big adventure together. The next day, they joined the Adventurers Guild and formed a new group called Survivors. They made 3 important rules: don't interfere with each other's interests, don't control each other's money, and don't return alive. They had all been betrayed before and still didn't fully trust each other. Their adventure started in a labyrinth where they fought slimy monsters. During the fight, Tiana was attacked and fell. She quickly fought back without looking around and almost hit Curran, who dodged just in time. Nick was still suspicious of Tiana. At the top floor of the labyrinth, they met the boss slime. Tiana attacked it without thinking, causing it to explode and cover them in sticky goo. Nick used this moment to open up to his team. He showed them his equipment, skills, and weaknesses. He was good at martial arts and dagger fighting but had no magic, couldn't use heavy weapons, and couldn't heal himself. He realized they needed to know each other's strengths and weaknesses to trust each other. Zem then shared that he wasn't good at sword fighting, fist fighting, or magic but could heal. Tiana was skilled in water, wind, and lightning magic and could combine them for powerful spells. However, she wasn't good with fire magic or hand-to-hand combat. She also apologized to Curran for the earlier incident. Curran, unlike Tiana, was good at fire magic and fighting up close. They continued their journey by defeating goblins in the forest. Then Tiana found out they were facing an ogre, which is a stronger type of goblin. Even though it was dangerous, they decided to fight the ogre to protect the people. They made a plan. Nick and Curran would attack, Tiana would help from a distance, and Zem would heal and support. They worked together, and Curran trusted Tiana to have her back. After a tough fight, Curran beat the ogre boss. While Nick was collecting materials from the ogre, he accidentally bumped into Curran and broke her pendant. The story then went back to Curran's past. She got the pendant from her hero and mentor, Karios. Curran admired Karios and did everything he asked. One day, Karios planned to explore a labyrinth and told Curran to stay and guard his stuff. But he changed his mind and told her not to come because it would be too much trouble. Curran felt sad but still followed her team to the labyrinth. She was asked to get a snack from a pot while her teammates protected her. She trusted them, but they disappeared once she got the snack, leaving her to face the poison of the pot snake alone. Karios knew the snake would be weak after biting and used that moment to kill it. He left Curran to deal with the poison alone. Curran woke up suddenly, remembering she had left the Dragon King's jewels at the inn. When she got there, she found out that all her stuff, including the jewels, was lost by Karios. Feeling defeated, Curran met an adventurer named Fifths, known as the Solo Eater because he explored the labyrinth alone. She secretly followed him and learned about great food along the way. Despite her disappointment, Curran found comfort in the delicious food she could now afford and decided to earn money for herself. Meanwhile, Nick was also looking for the same pendant as Curran. Even though she wasn't mad at him, Nick felt bad. He met Agate and told her about his problems. After talking with her, Nick met Curran and their relationship got better. The group soon received a mission to find the sacred bond sword. The next day, they went to the labyrinth, surprised by its modern design. In a large room, they saw the sword's light in the center, with sounds and flashing lights all around. The sword was the legendary bond sword they were looking for. However, the sword would only lend its power to those who were honorable and valued justice and friendship. When Nick lifted the sword, a guard system activated, trapping them. They had to fight a powerful guard named Golem, who was invulnerable to magic and physical attacks. Curran tried to attack, but Golem hit her. Nick ordered the group to retreat while he distracted Golem. The sword spoke to Nick, telling him to use it and say Union. He did, but nothing happened, and he was thrown into the ruins. Meanwhile, Tiana and Zim froze Golem to buy more time, but their magic only worked briefly. Exhausted, they accepted their fate. Suddenly, Nick's body transformed into a half-dragon form, and he destroyed Golem's core, defeating it. Nick and Curran returned to their normal forms and obtained the bond sword. As they prepared to leave, the master gave Tiana a lighter, which she had wanted for a long time. The master advised Tiana to discover who she truly was and what she was capable of. Tiana left with those words in her mind. Nick had a different experience. He dreamt of being blackmailed by his girlfriend. When he woke up, he realized the dream was telepathy from Kizuna. He was eager to learn about the survivors. The next day, they faced more monsters. Kizuna joined their party, granting them telepathy. Curran charged at a giant, but Kizuna stepped in and fought the enemy. Despite being physically outmatched, Kizuna's sword skills were impressive. He dodged and deflected the giant's attacks, dazzling everyone with his skill. Finally, he defeated the giant with a finishing blow. Nick felt drained and exhausted, even though he didn't participate in the battle. It was revealed that Kizuna had borrowed energy and mana from Nick's body to power his own attacks. After completing their mission, Curran invited Nick and Kizuna to a place from Nick's past. Nick felt uneasy about it, but followed them anyway. To his disappointment, he found his ex-girlfriend Claudine there, trying to scam men for money with her lies and drama. Nick quickly exposed her deceit to the man she was targeting. Later, the survivors discussed their next mission when Claudine appeared with a fierce tiger named Leon. Nick knew Claudine was using Leon, but Leon surprised him by challenging him to a fight. Nick agreed, and they met at a nearby location. Leon apologized for underestimating Nick and proposed a deal. He would trade Claudine, a known deceiver, for Nick's friends. He accused Nick of using and betraying his friends for money. Nick refused to back down and fought with all his strength. A new group of survivors arrived with an elderly guild leader named Hilma. Hilma couldn't stop them without breaking the rules, sparking Leon to challenge Nick to a holy duel called the Empty-Handed Calculation. Hilma explained the duel: 10 rounds of counting matches and simultaneous fistfights, with questions getting harder as the match progresses. Nick and Curran were paired against Leon and Claudine. The survivors suspected Leon and Claudine would cheat using hidden telepathic gems. When the duel began, Curran rushed through the questions and lost several times, causing Nick to take heavy punches from Leon. Curran became anxious seeing Nick get beaten up, but Nick encouraged her to stay focused. As the match continued, Curran improved her calculations and began landing punches on Claudine, while Nick fought fiercely against Leon. Despite the odds, Nick refused to give up, proving his bravery and resilience. Meanwhile, Tiana had the tough task of finding the mastermind behind the enemy's scheme. The rest of the team waited for her orders. Tiana couldn't find any evidence of magic use by the enemy despite her efforts. She devised a clever plan and asked Hilma to engage the enemy directly and ask many questions, hoping to lure the enemy out of hiding. Hilma accepted the challenge and provided Curran and Claudine with many questions to ask. Tiana's plan worked, revealing Claudine's use of a mind gem for remote communication and exposing the enemy's fraud. Tiana also gave her friends a code to exit the battle area. Leon was dealing with his troubles. He was a former high-class criminal, and now a guardian was pressuring him for information about stolen goods from the Steel Group in the labyrinth. The guardian's actions pushed Leon to the brink of desperation. Unable to handle the pressure, Leon reached for a dangerous weapon called the Sword of Destruction. Back at the casino, Tiana was ready to take on other gamblers and win big to continue her adventures. Nick was also there with Kazuna, who wanted to relax after winning the Burnicle event. They didn't know that Leon had escaped from the Guardians and was hunting for survivors. He wanted revenge on Nick. Leon was on high alert and sensed survivors in the casino. He charged in and stopped all the gambling. To find Tiana, he blocked a witch's path, baiting Nick to reveal himself. Nick appeared, wielding a dangerous Kazunakin. Leon, ready for this moment, increased his power with the Horobinikin to fight his martial arts rival. Nick and Tiana joined forces in union mode, their icy powers clashing with Leon's fiery attacks. After a tough battle, they overpowered Leon. Realizing his mistakes, Leon could only regret in a special cell prepared by the Guardians. The story of Agate, formerly Belle Haggins, began as a bar singer. Her luck changed when Joseph Coleman, an idol promoter from Jeffrey Production, offered her a job. She accepted and became the beloved idol Agate, playing a significant role in Nick's life. However, Agate's romantic relationship with Donnie was troubled. He often used her for gambling money. Agate decided to end things with him and move forward, finding hope from Nick and Tiana's union to stop Leon. One night, Zem found himself in a tough spot when he saw a boy about to be kidnapped. Even though he was still in a relationship with a priest, Zem did everything he could to protect the boy from a transparent kidnapper. With Nick and Kazuna's help, they drove the kidnapper away. This incident led to another problem involving a small child taken by a mysterious entity. The survivors went to the guild for more information about the ongoing kidnappings. Unfortunately, the bounty hunters there didn't welcome them, believing that capturing Leon wasn't enough. Feeling humiliated and ostracized, Tiana challenged the bounty hunters to see the true strength of the survivors. The survivors went on a mission to capture a notorious fugitive named Hale, hiding in a poor area called Garbage Collection. During their search, they found a former priest named Nalgarva, who was treating residents with a disease called syphilis, also known as the Yellow Devil. At first, they had a tense confrontation with Nalgarva, but it was a misunderstanding. The survivors proved they could catch a fugitive without major problems. However, things didn't go as planned. They encountered false information that hindered their investigation into the Stepping Man kidnapping case. Their suspicions grew when they met a reporter named Olivia, who seemed to resemble the Stepping Man from the Arban legend. This character was known to have a special connection with children. The survivors thought Olivia might be hiding something, especially since she refused to answer Nick's questions about her identity. The survivors became cautious of Olivia after noticing her suspicious behavior. They decided to set a trap, suspecting she might be the Stepping Man. Olivia's actions supported their suspicions as she ignored Nick's attempts to uncover her identity. To catch the truth, the survivors planned to catch her in the act. To catch the Stepping Man, the survivors sought help from adventurer Ada in Somalia. She trained Nick in using magic to give him an advantage against the agile Stepping Man. Their training paid off, and Nick and his team prevented a kidnapping. However, they couldn't catch the real culprit behind the Stepping Man persona. Nick suspected a magical item, the illusionary King Jewel, was helping the kidnapper hide his true identity. To confirm his theory, Nick sought out Leon and shared his suspicions. Together, they uncovered the truth behind the Stepping Man and his magic item, allowing the survivors to finally bring the kidnapper to justice. Soon after receiving information about the stepping man, Nick and the group sprang into action. They searched for clues about how the kidnapper operated, leading them to the slums called Garbage Collection. There, they met Olivia, who also wanted to find the real culprit behind the kidnappings, including the one involving a child known as the urban legend Stepping Man. After clearing up any misunderstandings, the two groups worked together to search Garbage Collection. They found some success, discovering a piece of a valuable jewel in a sick child's body. This led them to a former priest named Nalgarva, an expert in garbage collection and the main suspect in the Stepping Man case. They eventually confronted the Stepping Man, who turned out to be Nalgarva, seeking revenge for his daughter's death, which society had ignored. Zem noticed Nalgarva turning away from God and tried to guide him back, but their conversation was interrupted by Shiro Comment, a follower of a demonic deity. Chaos erupted as Shiro Comment attacked the survivors of the Stepping Man incident. Just when things seemed hopeless, Olivia arrived and bravely joined the fight to protect the survivors. The reporter created an opportunity for Nick and Zem to unite their efforts to stop the demon worshipper. As the battle intensified, the cultist used an explosion as a diversion and escaped. Despite their efforts, Nick and Zem couldn't prevent the escape. The survivors mourned the loss of their friend Nalgarva, who they couldn't save from the rubble. In their sorrow, they discovered that Olivia was a holy artifact like their friend Kizuna, known as Brave Sword. Time passed, and the survivors fell into a deep depression after the Stepping Man incident. Nick, who admired Urgis, felt empty and unmotivated. Zem carried the burden of Nalgarva's duty in garbage collection, while Tiana thought only of her party ties. Curran was filled with anger, remembering Cario's betrayal when he stole the Dragon King's gems. However, their worries began to fade when Kizuna and Olivia, showing a cheerful attitude, motivated them not to give up. With renewed determination, Nick, Zem, Tiana, and Curran promised to face all evil bravely and survive even in difficult circumstances. Inspired by their friends' bravery, the survivors were ready to confront any challenge together. The anime ends. So the moral of the story is, if life throws you out of a monster fighting group and your girlfriend leaves you, just join a new team of misfits, fight some slimes, and make sure you have each other's backs, especially when things get sticky.